Sure. I think in times like this, as a team, I think people, there's speculation and people wonder, what's the pulse of your football team? Where is everything? And I can tell you that, after some open discussions and meetings with our accountability council with our football team on Monday, this team is not a divided football team. It's not divided by players, not divided by positions. After anything like that we've been through the last 2 weeks, I would say the word would be frustrated, just like everybody else. Like fans, like the coaches, like me. And if they were not frustrated at this point, then that would be another issue. We had some open discussions about where we are and what we need to do to get the ship turned back to where we need to go. And notice I didn't say turn around, just turn to where we need to go. Our players understand that. I think we've done some things internally and had some discussions not only as a football team but as a staff. And Sunday and Monday, we looked at where we are, what we're doing offensively. We have not played very well in the last couple of weeks. And there's a lot been said about certain positions like quarterback, but we haven't played very well across the board offensively. And so, as a coach, it's my job, it's our job to address those issues. And you guys know me. Everything that I've always talked about, it's not what you do, it's how you do it. And examining what that is and what that looks like for us. So. Without going into it, really all the way into it, we've made some changes offensively in how we're going to do some things and approach to the game plan. And with that, Monday morning, I met with all three quarterbacks at 9:30 in the morning. Sat down and talked with all of those guys, all the guys, and just said, hey, listen, here's where we are as a team. All three of you guys have played in games now. Some of you had great moments. Some of you had bad moments. We've had a little bit of both. What we're looking for is consistency across the board in quarterback play, cutting down on turnovers, number two, and then this week, you're going to be evaluated not only based on your practice and percentage and drills and everything else, but you're also going to be evaluated in your leadership skills, your communication with your teammates, communication with the coaching staff, and general overall play and demeanor. And Friday, because of our change of schedule this year, we practice on Fridays. Friday, before that practice, we will announce who the starter is for this game for South Carolina. So, that being said, that's where we are right now as a football team. We've got to continue to play with the same kind of urgency that we were playing on defense and special teams, that we were playing very, very well on special teams. We had a hiccup last week with Christian with a turnover, but generally speaking, we've been solid. We've got to pick it up on offense, and we're taking the steps to do that. Like I said, without going into it, any specifics, there have been some changes there. So that's where it is from a quarterback standpoint this week, and it gives us an opportunity with a South Carolina team that's coming in here. The new coach, Coach Elliott, has taken the reins, done a great job. With a tribute to Coach Spurrier in his first game, got a win. And obviously was happy with his dance at the end of the game. I hope that was the end of the game, not before. But a lot of guys on this staff, obviously, that I know, and they do a great job. They're going to come in here really want to know from his standpoint, and it's an opportunity for us, obviously, to right the ship, as I just said, with another SEC opponent. coming in here Saturday to get back on the winning side. So for us, it's a big game because it's the next game, but also a chance for us to get rolling again. Like I said, the interesting thing that we talked about yesterday. Hey, listen, we're not 2-5, we're 5-2. And we've got an opportunity to close this season out with some opponents that we're playing to get some big wins and still have a great season and really still be in the thick of this thing at the end. Questions?
Gabe, to the right.
Coach, with the struggles on offense, how much do you lean a little bit more than you maybe have in the past on Dave Christensen, having been there in terms of game planning and play call?
Well, there's a lot of guys in that room that have been there and play called. And so we've been that kind of staff where everybody's been a part of it. Obviously, just like anything else, in this meeting, with the quarterbacks, there are 5 of us in there, me, Jake, and the 3 quarterbacks. And it's the same message. Guess what, guys? You're just like all 5 of us in this room are just like me. We get way too much credit when we win, and we get most of the blame when we lose. All right, what are we going to do about it? That's where we are. All right, we're beyond that. So my job is to assess, evaluate, and then move on and put together what I think gives us the best chance to win, period. And then also, from a player standpoint, put on the field the guys that I feel give us the best chance to win. So that's where that is. But collectively, as a staff, offensive staff and defensive staff, everything's got to run through one person. But offensively and defensively, all of our coaches, it's not like we just give guys, Chief gives guys, here's what we're doing, and Jake gives guys, here's what we're doing, you coach that. That doesn't work like that. So we've got plenty of guys on our staff, offensively, defensively, special teams-wise, that contribute to the game plan, and that's not going to change.
Go to Sam and then Kate and Brent.
So is Jake still your primary play caller at
Yes.
this point? Okay. And how would you evaluate his performance to this point?
Well, it's been up and down, but guess what? Life pays off on results. And, up to week 5, there wasn't any question. The last couple of weeks, we've had some and it's not one person. That's my point. It's not the quarterback, just one guy. It's not one situation. Can we be better? Yes. And that's why, we're making some changes. So, that's all part of it. But you're in this business. You're only as good as your last outing. You know that. And our last 2 haven't been very good. We've made some changes. We'll get rolling, and we'll see. We'll see 5 weeks from now what the thought process is.
Also, real quick, I wanted to ask you, there was a published report alleging a spat between Kyler and Jake in the Alabama game. Can you comment on the validity of that?
I will say this. I'm not going to get into the specifics of what happened on the sideline, but I will say that Kyler has done the things necessary that we've asked him to do based on what happened on the sideline, and hopefully that's been a learning experience for him. And because of that, since that time, I think it has been a learning experience for him. He's come back, he's practiced, he's doing the right things, and that's why he was part of the discussion yesterday in this wide open 3-man competition.
All right. We'll get the mic down here to Kate.
Hey, Kevin, why did you guys wait so long to take Kyle out of the game when it was clear he was really severely struggling, and what has led to his struggles these last 2 games?
If I knew, Kate, what has led to his struggles the last 2 games, then they would have been fixed.
Is his shoulder?
He's fine, and here's what it is. You look back, and let's just be honest, all right? It's easy to have 20 hindsight, all right? Game 5, he's got the highest quarterback rating in the SEC, right? Everybody's talking about him. We go to Game 6, we throw 3 pick sixes, and we put another guy in and he throws an interception, right? That had not been the MO of this team, and that has not been how he had played through the first 5 games of the season. We go to the next game where he has played very well on the road in the past, even as a freshman. And so, yeah, it was a bit of a surprise to, I think, everybody. I haven't been a guy that it's hard to play that position looking over your shoulder all the time. Does that make sense? And there are a lot of other positions you just yank guys in and out, and you can drift back and forth. But without confidence, it's hard to play quarterback. Now, once that confidence starts to go, if that's the case, that's where it is. But yeah, you kind of want a guy to play himself out of it. It just wasn't happening, and we made the change. So yeah, looking back at it, yeah, I think it's easier to say that. But if you understand the thought process, maybe you understand it, maybe you don't, coming into game 6 and 7.
Down front, Brent.
You mentioned changes on offense, and outside of the obvious of scoring more points, what would you like to see done better on offense?
Well, just we got to have more consistency, say, on the field, move the football, I think that we were never really in a rhythm Saturday, and really the part for the second half against Alabama, that was what is that? What is a rhythm? It means making first downs, and we've been a big play offense a lot of times in years. We've got to shore up protection. Yeah, we need to throw the ball down the field, do this, do that. Well, we drop back, we get sacked, and when you're behind that much, it really makes you one-dimensional. So we've got to establish a rhythm of offensively in the run and pass, and really through and take our shots when we have them, instead of maybe just trying to get the ball down the field a lot more in the opening part of the game. And so establishing that rhythm, what does that look like? We've got to be able to run it a little bit better. I thought we started off, if you look at the beginning of the game, we started off running it pretty good. We missed a play with Ricky, who's wide open, maybe the third, fourth play of the game, which may have changed things in the complexity of the game when you're on the road to take a crowd out of it. Move the ball all the way down inside the, 25-yard line and get a holding call and go back out to the 50 and have to punt it. So, we've got to establish that rhythm, and where does that come from? Yeah, those are plays. There are plays being made, doing things that we can handle, but also eliminating penalties that are drive killers.
Go to your left, Coach Cease.
Kevin, you mentioned about quarterbacks, but what about offensive line? Could there be changes in there? And what about the backup to Carson? Because he's had to take a lot of snaps. Is White coming around there?
Yeah, that's another issue. See, Trey is a good back. He's not the most explosive back, a wire-to-wire guy. He is a pounder. He's a guy that's going to get yards. He's going to be he's a sure back. We don't have right now. James is. You saw him come in and give us some carries. He's going to continue to get healthy, which will take a little bit off of Trey, because he's really been carrying the load. So there'll be some changes, not necessarily with personnel in the offensive line, but there'll be some changes with a couple things of what we're doing. Maybe we're trying to do too much, and up front. And as far as angles and numbers and reads and things like that, and maybe just looking at it, our guys are better off coming off the ball and going straight ahead and doing some things that way. So I would, as I said, without getting into specifics, although you're trying to get me there, Cease, which I'm close. There'll be some things that will change, not necessarily from a personnel standpoint, but from a schematic standpoint. Is that fair?
We'll go to the back. Darryl first, and then Lee or Colin.
Coach, I'd like to ask you a couple of questions about South Carolina. Can you talk a little bit about Pharaoh Cooper and just kind of what he's like as an all-purpose player, and how he can really, I guess, hurt teams if he gets going?
Hurt teams, yeah. He's, here's a guy that I think he was on the coaches all SEC preseason team for a couple, 3 positions, as a receiver. He's dynamic. As a return guy, he's dynamic. They're going to find every way they can to get the ball to him. He's a heck of a player. He's a high school quarterback, so better watch out when he either steps back on that screen or reverse, because he might just pull up and throw it too. So, he's a heck of a player, one that we have to be aware of defensively, but also a player that can change the game in a lot like Christian Kirk. As a return man, as a punt return guy and a kickoff return guy. So a threat to go wire to wire and score anytime he's got his hands on the football, and just a heck of a player.
And then a little bit about Sky Moore and the impact he makes on their defense.
Yeah, guys all over the field. He's a leading tackler by a long ways. John Hoke has come in, a guy I've known for a long time, and really, schematically, they're a lot different than they were last year. Everybody gets back to, the game last year. Look, they played odd defense, 3-4 the whole game. Played a lot of different. They're even front team now. Playing a lot of different defenses. John has changed things. Obviously, they're more of a keep it in front of them type style. They've been a little bit more aggressive in the last week. Across the board, defensively and special teams wise. So, the Sky does a great job of. He's a little bit like a tweener. He's a linebacker that's maybe a little bit undersized, but what he makes up for is speed, quickness. He's got great vision, and attacks the line of scrimmage, makes a lot of tackles for him.
Stay in the back, Colin.
Hey, Coach, you mentioned on Saturday that you guys would really be leaning on your leadership of the team. I was curious, what have you seen from them, after the loss on Saturday? Is the mindset of the team what you'd like to see from them, I guess, at least in the first couple of days of practice?
Yeah, we don't practice on Sunday, so, that's our staff time. We got back here. We had a diversion. We got back here at, 6 o'clock in the morning Saturday. So Sunday. Yeah, it all ran together. And then really we have here, some guys know about it, their accountability council. It's 2 guys that are voted on by every member of his class, his how many years of eligibility. And then our captains are involved in there. And those guys are really the conduit to the team. And really talk openly. We had a great discussion yesterday about where this team is. That's why I led off with what I said about where we are as a team, about what the expectations are, about it's a frustration, and that's healthy. I think the healthy part of it is being able to discuss it, and then not complain about it, but discuss it, be open about it, and then as a coaching staff. And as that leadership group, be able to say, hey, here's what we need to do. All right, what is that? What does that look like? What is the difference between 14 days ago and today? And it's easy, really easy, to get into a mindset right now or yesterday or Sunday or after the game Saturday that this is a bad football team. It is not. And but what has to be talked about openly and what we discussed is what has happened in those 14 days and what we have to do to change it. And that's a great discussion. And our guys understand it. And it all starts with this week. With today, we're back on the field in full pads, practicing, and what that looks like to get a win Saturday. And it's one day at a time from here on out. And I think, the big picture, everybody, when these kids leave or when our guys leave or coaches leave or everybody leaves, 2 weeks ago, there was too much big picture thinking. I'll just put it that way, by everybody. And now after 2 weeks, it's kind of an eye-opening experience. So we got to get back to 1 week thinking, and what's important is South Carolina.
We'll go second row here. Josh from the state newspaper, Columbia.
Kevin, what was your reaction when you first heard that Spurrier was resigning immediately?
actually, Eric Hyman texted me and told me that, and actually I text back, damn. So, not because it wasn't, he didn't tell me directly, I just had heard, and my relationship with Coach and with Junior and the family there, and it's a guy that I've always looked up to and still continue to look up to, and you've heard me say on, in the SEC now, he was kind of the guy I always wanted to be, as a guy that was kind of that came into the SEC, won in this league through the football, played defense, won national championships, and kind of did it his way, he's had a huge impact on me from outside, and then getting to know him, through Bob and a couple other guys. It's been there are a lot of things that are football related that he brings to the table, but there's also a lot of things that from a personal growth standpoint that people won't ever know that he's helped me with. And I've said it before, it'll be a long time, and maybe never, that a guy will win a Heisman, coach a Heisman, and win a national championship, and that'd be the same guy. And there's why there's already statues for him. It's hard, you're something when you're alive, and they already got statues for you. How about that? Let's put it that way.
Obviously, it's a short sample size, but what differences have you seen in South Carolina's football team with Sean in charge?
Well, I think they're passionate. They're anytime there's a change, in my experience, it either does one or two things, right? It goes down or it goes up. It doesn't stay the same with a change, and there's some energy there which Sean brings. I think it's always been there. I think it looks to me like Joe Robb is getting some more time with special teams now, because they look a little bit different than they had in the past, and they're a little bit more aggressive on special teams, which will be a challenge for us. You look at where they are and what they're doing, as I said before. They got to look at it. Sean's got to look at it, and that coaching staff's got to look at it like they're 1-0 right now. I know they paid tribute to Coach, but as a staff now, you're back in the bunker. You got to look at it like you're 1-0, and they're looking to get win number 2 this week, and they're going to come in here after a bye week. So they've got to win, a week to heal up, a bye week, a chance to study our tape, and get an extra week of preparation. So, they're going to be prepared, and they still got great coaches on that staff.
All right, Coach. Thank you.
All right.
Jake's ready.
Thank you.